Welcome to our program on PCM TV. The program is Know Your History. I am your host, Neville Mutemwa Silimwe. All right, so remember in our introduction, we said that to help us discuss these various periods of history, or rather of church history, we need to actually look at the model given to us in the Bible, because the Bible has got a history span from the very existence of the Christian church to the end, that is the Laodicean time. And so we are going to look at that model given to us, and that's the seven churches. So in this episode, we're just going to give ourselves an introduction to the seven churches. How are they structured? What are the various parts? And even giving you um, a, even giving you a bit of a recap of the names of the churches and the period that they cover and what they mean and in which time of period they did exist. And so we are going to give you that information in this very episode. So we realize to say when you go to the book of Revelation chapter 2, we find the names of the churches there. That is Ephesus, as we said. From Ephesus, we go to Smyrna, Pergamos, Thyatira, Sardis, Philadelphia, and Laodicea. And so now we realize that actually the name Ephesus simply means desirable, and the name Smyrna simply means a bittersweet myth, and the name Pergamos simply means elevation. The name Thyatira simply means sacrifice of penitence, and the name Sardis means escaping. The name Philadelphia means brotherly love, and the name Laodicea means the judged people. And this simply gives you the various period of time that we have throughout church history. And so now we have to realize that this message is simply actually put in different ways. It's actually put in different parts, and these different parts are that the first part is it's usually an address to a church pastor or an address to the leader of the church. The second part of the message is usually the description of the church by Jesus, relating to where it is. And the third part is the commendation, that the praiseworthy. What does the Lord has to praise over that church? And the fourth part is the censure, or rather the rebuke that the church has to be given, and also the exhortation, the appeal, and lastly, there's a promise given to each and every church in that period of time. And so this is how the message is structured. And from that, it will help us to look at the various parts of the message and what happened during that time. And as we discuss these churches, we need to keep those points in mind. As we discuss the various parts of the history, we are going to simply be having something like, a theological, historical study. What do I mean by that? It simply means we're going to be doing a bit of application in theological era, but also linking it to the various time periods that we have. And so when you look at the apostolic church, we are going to see what the Bible means when it says they lost their first love. So let's right away go to the church in Ephesus. Let's right away go to church in Ephesus. The church in Ephesus we find it in the book of Revelation. We find it in the book of Revelation, chapter 2. And what we find there is, let me just read. It says, "This saith he who holds the seven stars in the right hand, who walks in the middle of the seven golden lampstands." All right. It says, "To the angel of the church of Ephesus write, these things says he who holds the seven stars in the right hand, he who walks in the midst of the seven golden sticks. I know your works, I know your labors, your patience, and you cannot bear them which are evil." From the very first start, we find that these guys have had good works. They have taken the message to various parts of the country. Remember, these are the guys that have seen Christ. These are the people that have experienced, they have stayed with Christ. And so they have the message at hand. And so in our next episode, as we are going to discuss the church in more detail, we're going to show you how exactly did they carry the message. We're going to discuss how the missionary works of people like Paul, people like Peter, and various apostles that took part in the spreading of the message, so that we look at our history, and from our history are able to see how we should apply that to our time, how we should apply that to the present time as we live in the 21st century. Be there, be around, and remember to subscribe. This is your program, Know Your History, on PCM TV. Thank you.
ICM TV, giving meat in due season.